So a video today on wheels, particularly the Navis wheel range, which we are very fond of here. So this video came about because this week we released images of this, which is the new Navis centre cap. This is the gloss black version. There's also a matte black version. People were asking us about them, what they were for, what they worked with, so we thought we'd do a video to do that, and then while we were here, why not explain all of the Navis wheels, why we think they're the best wheels on the market. A lot of the design inspiration and ideas came from. You'll see here, here's my van. I've wanted to run these wheels for ages. This is the Navis GP7 in bronze. A lot of the thought behind the Navis wheels are very kind of OEM plus. Now this wheel came about quite a while ago now, but it was very much inspired by the GP steel. So the T32 steel wheel that lots of people have used to come standard on all T32s, I think T6, I think. It was really popular back then. I'd run them loads of times and people used to band them. It suited the commercial looks, but it was very kind of OEM. But back when it was just really common to run banded 17-inch steels. So from there, that's where this wheel came from. This wheel was quite along down the line of the Navis wheels, but this is very much designed and inspired by the GP steel, but 20 in various colours. But to give it that real kind of steel look, but with the alloy weight and alloy build quality, centre caps work here, but with using a bolt extender, which I'll show you some more details of later. The wheel looks really nice without them. It's still got the branding in it, but I think to really finish it off, to give it that real kind of OEM plus look, those centre caps are what were needed to give it a real kind of striking finish. We believe that the Navis wheel range is the best on the market, and that's partly because it ranges from your steel wheel right the way through your cast wheels, which are all really well styled, right the way through to custom made splits, so that they have a range for everything. But the beauty of this wheel is it's 100% specifically designed for the Transporter. So many wheels that people run out there, and I've run them myself. I've run Ferrari wheels on my TSI, ceramic polished Ferrari wheels on my TSI, which are great to go to a show. But the reality is they're not actually practical. I wouldn't want to do loads of miles on them. One, because you're running tiny skinny adapters on them to make them fit, and two, those wheels are designed for a race car. They're not designed for a big heavy vehicle. I cringe a lot of the time when I see heavy vehicles with really fine spokey wheels that claim to be load rated. I saw a post this week about somebody that had sheared a whole hub, the whole drum off their wheel with what was claimed to be a load rated wheel. It just makes me question it, and partly because I've been very much instrumental and very much involved in the Navis designs. I've seen the stress tests that these wheels have to go under, and I've seen what happens when a wheel fails. When we get involved in the design brief, they show us how much metal needs to be there for them to be able to withstand the weight and the pressures that we put them over. Personal opinion, but I don't particularly like a really fine spokey wheel. Yes, it suits a sports car, but these are a big meaty heavy vehicle. They deserve a big meaty heavy wheel. We go back to where it all came from. So it came from the fact that we'd previously worked quite a lot with a few different people that attempted to make a steel wheel. So 19s and 20s, what people used to do historically was they would get a Range Rover Space Saver, because they're the right PCD, the 5x120. They'd cut them in half, they'd weld abandon it, and then that would become the banded Range Rover steel. Two slight issues there. One is it became really expensive. You'd like 1,600 quid for a set of banded Range Rovers. And secondly, the reality is actually that's a Space Saver that's designed to drive at 50 mile an hour, cut in half with a band in it. It probably makes them stronger, but there's no real level of testing to that wheel, whereas we wanted to work with the Navis factory to create a wheel that's fully load rated and tested to take this load and beyond. Initially that was where Navis came from. Navis created a steel wheel, so the Navis 19 and 20-inch Holy wheel, which looks very OEM-esque, was designed. Originally the thoughts were, and the prototypes would fit a genuine VW cap in, but actually to pass the stress test that we wanted them to and to be able to be load rated enough, the centre had to be shrunk, and then you needed to trim the centre cap, and that was why this Navis cap was eventually designed. The other thing was the smooth wheel. Again, really like the smooth design, suits loads of vans. You would have to use a Crafter centre cap on that because of the flatness of the dish, and they were just really expensive, and they're only available in like one finish, in the texture finish, and a lot of people like something a bit more bling. So the idea was born of the Navis centre cap. So in creating this Navis centre cap, it was always originally designed around the steel wheel, so it fits perfectly in a Holy, fits absolutely flat and nice and neat on the smooth. We also designed it so it could work with some of the wheels, and the GP7 wheels we've got here are one of them. Because of the design of an alloy, you need bolt extenders, which again we supply with just a simple 3D printed part, but it allows you to get these trims on these wheels and a few others as well. The Navis Lenta works well with those, so I'll take you in closer. In the wheel, what we've got in one of our warehouses, and show them in a little bit more detail. Next up, after we'd worked with Navis to make the steel wheel, we moved on to, it just seems to make sense to make a good quality, strong alloy wheel. So I'd previously, my most popular wheel I'd run on my T7, the one I preferred more than anything, certainly for a daily, was the Cantara, the Amarok Cantara wheel, which a lot of people refer the Twin 5 to be very similar to, and it's very much because that inspired the Twin 5 wheel. So really like that OEM plus, like I really like the Cantaras on my van. I'd driven that off to Chamonix snowboarding with that wheel on, and was just, you know, I was comfortable and new, strong, good, thick, quality OEM wheel. So from there became, the next design came the Twin 5, which is that twin spoke design that looks very OEM plus because it looks very similar in lots of ways to a Cantara. You know, plenty of changes in there, but it still has that real kind of OEM plus look. So that wheel came out in all the usual colours: silver, anthracite, bronze, black, and so on. From there, it seemed to take off really well, and people decided to swamp the kind of off-road look took off. So that's where the Mach AT came. So that again was designed, I guess, similarly inspired by the Cantara in the twin spoke pattern on the 5 spokes, but made into an off-roady look. So 17, the usual off-roady colours, but with that kind of motorsport off-road lip around the outside, but again very much design inspired by the original Cantara wheel. Actually, I was waffling about wheels outside next to the van, and I thought it'd be so much easier to bring it inside and show you the wheels on our wheel wall.
That's real cool.
Because we've got all different models here, just to run you through them all and just kind of to show you how the whole design is around the kind of real tough, rugged look to be able to handle that weight of a Transporter comfortably. So you'll see here, as I said previously, all of these wheels are designed specifically for Transporters, whereas a lot of other wheels you see are actually BMW wheels that people fit to Transporters, but these are fully designed so they're the right PCD, which is your whole pattern there, 5x120. They're the right centre bore on the back there, so they fit perfectly on without any spigot rings, and they're the correct size and offset, so that the distance they are away from the hub. And all of the alloy wheels you'll see here, the 20s are all 20x9 for the reason that that's the perfect fitment for everything. So these centre caps fit absolutely perfectly without any need for adjustment, straight there into the Navis Holy. The design then was made so that it had the right amount of depth and return, so that it also fits perfectly with the smooth. And then up down here, this is a new wheel we're working on. This is a prototype, which is going to be called the Chopper. So those came first, and then we also do the dome. So I'll show you a picture of the dome. We had a bronze set on our Navis Dutch demo van, lovely wheel. It actually comes in black only, but we had them made in bronze just for that vehicle. So you've got your Holy, you've got your smooth, you've got the dome. That's the Chopper, as I said, that's coming soon. That's only going to be available in 9 wide, and it's sided. So the way you see that spokes work, the way it leans back, they'll be different on both sides. That's probably going to be available in May. So after we've done those steel wheels, we moved on to alloys. So the first alloy being the Twin 5, which is still our most popular and probably still my favourite Navis alloy wheel ever done. So all of these wheels, in fact the steels are even more, load rated to 1,050 kilos, because while we were making such a tough, rugged wheel for a Transporter, let's make it for a Crafter as well. So 1,050 covers that as well. So these work perfectly, all of these work perfectly on a Crafter and still have the load rating for that. But that's why the designs are always nice and thick and chunky. AT wheels are always 8.5 wired. It just suits better with a bigger, chunkier, thicker tyre. So from there, we kind of stayed with that OEM looking theme and decided to go for the wheel that I've got on my van, which we just showed you. So this is it in bronze. You get the true idea of how OEM plus it looks in silver. So with these, all you need to do is fit some bolt extenders. So we 3D print bolt extenders, which we offer on the website. They click onto your bolts, and then these centre caps lock in really nice and tightly on there. Dan Chambers got them on his van. If you follow Dan Chambers on YouTube, he's got them in silver on his with the centre caps, and it just looks really smart and very kind of OEM, very much suits the commercial vehicle look that in silver, as it does. I mean, mine's a highline, so it's fully colour coded, and I just really like the look of that wheel. So from there, there's only so far you can go with OEM style wheels without directly copying them, or just, I don't know, we weren't particularly inspired by any of the particular OEM looks after we'd done this, after we'd done this, after we'd done this. You know, they were all kind of our favourite OEM looks. So we were talking with the Navis factory about making something a bit different. So we wanted to go for something a bit more motorsport inspired, I guess you could say. We're massive, or we were massive Ken Block fanboys here, so this was kind of Ken Block inspired, I guess. When we were talking with the factory, we gave them a design brief for what we thought would work well. They came to and back with a few ideas, and this was certainly in white. That's where the idea with the Navis unknown wheels come from. So you've got this big, strong, solid, chunky metal star with a motorsport lip around the outside, but with a star going to the edges. So probably my favourite look I've ever had on my van was this in white. I just think it was just really kind of, I don't know, very special. I really liked it. I think it looked really striking in white. It really suited my van. But equally, we tried it in all the other colours as well. Marco has them. Marco at Transport HQ Europe will show you some pictures of that. He has them in bronze on his van with the wrap on his. So just if you're looking for something a bit more sporty than a lot of these are, that's a really good kind of very much motorsport inspired 20-inch wheel. After the success of these, the Navis factory said, right, help us with another 17-inch wheel, because the Mach AT had been really popular, which was still satin black, still the most popular by a long way, but we wanted to do another wheel. So this is where this wheel came in, which is the leader. So another 17 by 8.5. So boring fact for you, I should have said this earlier, but Navis is Latin name, and it stands for cargo, and that kind of just indicates the strength of them being good, strong, solid wheels. So that was where that came from. And then this wheel here is called the Glida, which is actually Latin for frozen, I think. Frozen, there we go. Partly for its design inspiration, because it looks like a snowflakey-esque, I guess, but just to try and follow on from the Latin naming. But yeah, that's been really popular since, again, in satin black, for people that want something that's a little bit less, you know, these you can see through to your brakes, but if somebody wants to block that out a little bit more, then that's been really popular since. So that was the most recent 17-inch wheel, and from there the newest wheel that the Navis factory brought out is the Lenta. So Lenta is Latin for, there you go, it's Latin for, can you see that? Tough. Design idea behind this was there was something really industrial, something that really suited the commercial look as well as the kind of highline look, something that had a real dish to it and depth. So I don't know if that really does it justice, but the way this lip steps out here, it just means that there's a real nice deep dish to it. So you kind of almost have that rear wheel look all round with them still being 9 wide. You may have seen the split version of this on the T7 we did. We did a fully polished version of these on the T7, and they were crazy striking. You can see the bolt pattern here, so it looked like a double bolt pattern. They'll come back on again for the summer, I'm sure. So there you go, gloss black on that one. So on these, how we decided to try and do it with these, because we didn't necessarily think bolt extenders were the right pattern with this, is these actually fit really neatly in these holes. You just press them in and they lock in really nicely and tight. So that sums up all of your Navis standard wheels, so your steels and your alloys. So sensible on the price range, and we always wanted to work with the factory to make a wheel that was like show quality, a vehicle that would look really good on your van but was solid and strong. And that's why the Navis kind of brand was created originally, to be a really super sexy wheel that you could use daily, but actually if your van was on air, or if it wasn't, if it was lowered or lifted, it could look really striking if you wanted a show wheel. It's great to have a really sexy show wheel like I did with my Ferrari 458s and various other split rims, but the reality is they're not practical. Whereas instead of just going for what we see so commonly, which is just like a standard Audi rep wheel that's just reproduced, made really poorly in a factory in China and put on somebody's vehicle, and then they corrode. You know, another thing, we would have absolutely nothing to do with a diamond cut wheel, because we see so many diamond cut wheels that start to white worm. They all had to be solid powder coated for strength, because the road conditions in this country and throughout Europe are so bad. So that's the regular wheel range, and all sensibly priced, kind of ranging from £1,000 up to £1,100, I think. So they're the regular wheels, but if you want something a little bit special, Navis can do that too. So I'll just run you through some of these here. So I previously have had a set of these. So a lot of these wheels are designed inspired by the cast, but as a split. The twin 5 split, you would have seen them on Marco's van. He had a set of those with black with a polished lip. I'm sure we can find some pictures of that to show you. That is the GP7. I had a polished version, so this is the bronze version. This is actually supposed to be my wheel, but we've just sold them to somebody else. This is the bronze split GP7. I had the polished version on mine previous to this. So these are all custom made to order. So these, like this particular set is staggered. It's 8.5 front, 10 rear, if people want them to be. I know that the Navis factory are currently designing wheels for a few other vehicles as well. They're doing them for a Porsche and a few other things. So these can almost be pretty much custom made to whatever you need. Give us a design inspiration, we can pass that on. This was a wheel that was done for Simply Surf Bus. They put that on their vehicle. So again, that's a split wheel with hidden hardware at the back there, so you can't see the bolts. And another wheel down here, this is going on a customer of ours van, which you'll see shortly. We're going to do a full build with this, with something special going on behind there as well that we're working on currently. We'll share with you in the future. So again, that's another 2-piece Navis split wheel. So these obviously are seriously strong money, because these are forged split wheels. So in the world of split wheels, they're still really sensibly priced. These kind of vary £3,000 to £4,000 a set in these, whereas obviously over here your steels and your alloys are more, a quarter of that really in price. But if you want something special, we're currently working on some designs for the ID Buzz in a split, and also some new summer split wheels for my van. Now I've unfortunately sold these, which I'm gutted about, because they're so nice and I've never seen them on. But I've got the cast wheels on now. You'll see these soon. We're going to fit these on a van and we're going to do a video on it, and it's having a bit of a makeover, so you'll see, with really big chunky brakes behind them. But yeah, keep watching for that. So if there is something really special you want to do for your vehicle, by all means get in touch with us, or with naviswheels.com, get in touch with them directly, and they can help you out with designing something specific and bespoke just for your vehicles, one-offs. So as I said before, the GP7, so there you go, that's them on a Crafter there. That's my Crafter with the black ones on, although I fancy a change. I think I'm going to put some unknowns on there. Just wanted to show you this van. I just thought we'd finish out here and show you this van. So it's so easy to transform a van with just a set of wheels and a few little bits. So this is a brand new T6.1 in Ascot Grey. All has been added to this is a set of Galida wheels in black, some nice BF Goodrich tiles, the arch trims, and then the rear swamper vents, which we sell. But again, it just can really set up off a van if you want to go for that kind of swamper look instead of the lowered look. That's just still on standard suspension at the minute. This vehicle is going to feature quite a lot soon because we're doing a whole suspension video based on that, and we'll show you various different wheels and tyres options on this, and then it's going to finish on air with those really sexy splits in there and something a little bit special behind there. But I just thought I'd show you that. So I've already been through this several times, but you know, strength is the key with the Navis wheels. That was always the design idea behind this factory. It was not make something that's spokey and fine and not really fit for purpose. I'm not saying all the wheels out there aren't, because they, you know, majority of the factories do really good load rating testing, but we just wanted to be sure with this factory that there was going to be no issues and it was a super strong wheel. So we're obviously slightly biased because we're the UK distributors for the Navis brand. Transporter HQ Europe are the European distributors for Navis brand. You're going to start seeing these wheels over in Australia. That's something we're going to talk about in a coming episode, but something exciting going on for the guys over in Australia. And also TUV. So TUV approval, if anybody knows anything about TUV, it's really hard and really strict and really hard to get on alloy wheels especially. So currently we're helping, and Transporter HQ Europe helping a German distributor get TUV approval for these, because we know we can see from all the test data from the factory that they'll pass. They're super strong, they're able to do it, they're all the right offsets and widths and everything to pass the TUV approval. But you'll start to see some of the Navis wheels available in Germany that are fully TUV'd, but just bear with us on that one. The TUV process isn't a 5-minute job. We can't get all the wheels done straight away, so we're starting off with certain alloy wheels before we move on to the steels. But they're that confident, they're that strong that TUV won't be approval, so you'll start to see the Navis brand in the countries that require TUV approval. But for most people in the UK, you don't need that. The reason why we don't get TUV approval is because we don't need it, and it costs thousands of pounds, and anything like that that's done just adds, it has the cost of getting the testing done has to go somewhere, so it goes on the price of the wheels. The UK version of these wheels won't have that premium added to them. They will always be the same price as they are now. The TUV ones will be a slight extra premium. Alloy wheels can make a van, whether you go for the lowered look or you go for the lifted look. I particularly like this. Ascot Grey is a favourite colour of mine, but it doesn't take a lot to make a van look nice, just with the right set of wheels on the right finish. Ascot Grey, satin wheels, a few trims, finishes it off really nicely. So I hope you found this video useful. Just wanted to kind of go through those centre caps and just talk to you about some of the other wheels in the range and where the inspiration came from and why they're kind of why they seem to suit a Transporter so well, because they are so, you know, OEM plus is the term I keep using, but that's the way we feel about them, the way a lot of the design inspiration was for them. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do press that like button, it means a lot to us, helps YouTube show it to other people. Please do subscribe to the channel, click that little bell to get notifications when new videos come out, and as always, thanks for watching.
Customer, quite similar to the Unknown. Gloss anthracite faces, hidden hardware, so they are bolted and split still, but the hardware is hidden. Polished lips, and then in the back we've gone for brushed with clear coat over the top to keep that nice and clean. It makes it easy to clean. If you do want anything like this, please just get in touch with us. We can make these based on any of our wheels or anything else really. If you've got any ideas, let us know, and we can design stuff to suit. But yeah, these just look absolutely fabulous. Nice amount of concave on them. I'm sure the customer will be dead chuffed with them, as you know, we love them as well.